afternoon session will be on resident interest withholding tax. Resident interest withholding tax, and the objective of this presentation is to provide an overview of the TPOS online application for certificate of exemption, and also the TPOS summary filing of the RIWT summary. We'll also be explaining some changes, major changes in this process, and also a live demo of the RIWT summary filing. The overview of this webinar, we look at the overview of RIWT, and it will be in two parts. Firstly, will be the overview of the RIWT certificate of exemption application, and this will be filed as a request by a payee. A payee, and the definitions, we'll look at it in the next slides. And the second part will be the overview and the demo of the RIWT summary filing, which will be done by financial institutions or any institutions that pay out interest. That will be the payer. And we'll also look at summarize the responsibilities of the payee and payer. And the last part will be the question and answer time, the most exciting part of the presentation. The overview of the RIWT is imposed under Section 112 of the Income Tax Act. It's paid by the financial institution, withheld from the resident individual. So this is effective from 1st January 2016. The RIWT is at the rate of imposed at the rate of 10% on the gross amount of interest. The definition for payee refers to the person who receives the interest, receiving the interest with which is subject to RIWT, and the payer refers to the person who is required to withhold that RIWT, which is the financial institution and other persons paying interest. As again, RIWT certificate of exemption is applicable to payees. They will apply for the exemption, and the RIWT summary, which is the second part, is applicable to payers. The major changes come about with the TPOS. Previously, the manual, and still currently, the manual lodgement of exemption application, the yearly lodgement of RIWT summary. This yearly lodgement is done through the disk that is sent, where the data is kept, is sent to FRCS yearly, and also the manual verification of this RIWT summary. Now, the changes that is brought about by the TPOS is the all submission of online application, and also the submission of online filing via the TPOS. Monthly filing, before it was yearly, now it will be monthly filing of RIWT summary. Non-financial institutions can also file RIWT summary, and the same time verification of these summaries. And also, in addition to that, the payees, the persons who are receiving the interest, they can download their withholding statement to show how much the bank has withheld. Same time, once the summary is filed, the payees can download those figures will show in their statements. On this next slide, we look at the certificate of exemption, which is the first part, RIWT certificate of exemption. On the screen is the other conditions, those who qualify to apply for this exemption. Number one, individuals whose gross income is 30,000 or less in a year. Number two, senior citizens, age 55 or above, with interest income up to 30,000, with no other source of income. Number three, pensioners earning pension and interest up to 30,000. with no other source of income. Number 4, interest income earned by non-profit organizations. Number 5, interest derived by citizens of foreign countries recognized in the PG MySec program. So for these conditions, they have to apply first from Immigration Department. Next, interest derived by a non-resident from a deposit in a foreign currency account if the amount of deposit is above the equivalent of 150,000 Fiji dollars. Foreign currency account derived by a non-resident person. Next, interest derived by a non-resident person from a deposit in a Fiji dollar external account. And the last is persons whose entire income is exempt from income tax. So if you know you fall within these conditions, then you can apply for the certificate of exemption. The process, it will all be done from the individuals or the payee's TPOS. So the process will be the sign up. If you haven't signed up yet, or if you have already, then you can just log in to the TPOS, you file a request for exemption, and then it will go for approval. Approved or not, the taxpayer, the applicant will be advised accordingly. Now this RIWT, we will be phasing it out at a later date. We won't be able, we'll now move to the RIWT summary filing. So this is the second part of the presentation, summary, RIWT summary filing, which will be done by financial institutions. So there is no separate registration. If your institution is a financial institution with those industry codes, 64199 and 64301 are automatically registered for RIWT summary filing. And filing from 2020 onwards in the TPOS will be monthly. Prior 2020, it will still be yearly, but it will be done through the TPOS online system. Now, on this online system as well, taxpayers other than financial institution can also file summaries only for the months in which they pay interests. So for other non-financial institutions who has paid interest to resident and withheld this withholding tax, then they need to apply manually for their filing obligations to be created, then they'll be able to file these summaries. The overview for the liabilities will be posted automatically when the summary is filed and is to be remitted to FRCS in the following calendar month. The month following in which the RIWT was withheld. We'll just quickly look at the process. So sign up and log in for financial institutions and other non-financial institutions. They have to come and advise it so that the obligations can be created, and then they will log in into the online system. And the filing summary will be the same place that we'll click to file the tax returns, which is filing obligations. Once it is filed, it's a self-assessment. So there will be, once it is filed, then the liabilities are posted automatically and the correspondences and the taxpayers are advised accordingly. And if the taxpayer wants to file amendment, they can do so, and that amendment will go for approval. And also the final result will be notification of the amended assessment will also be sent out to the customers. Okay, we'll go now to the online system. I'll just be showing you one example. So just a few reminders for these online filing summary. So the team of the payees, this will be done by the institutions who paid out interest. The teams will be validated. It will reject if there's any incorrect team. So once we log in into the system, we'll go straight to filing obligations. We click on filing obligations. Then we can sort out the RIWT summary, resident interest withholding tax. We click on the drop-down menu, then we click on RIWT. That will be shown. So just like any other return, it's in chronological order. You cannot file a March if your February is overdue. So you will file the first ones first. So we see here February is overdue. Then we click on it to file that summary. First page, instructions. So we have to read these instructions carefully, ensure to provide accurate information while filing your return. If there are no transactions during the period, select the nil return option and specify the reason. You can choose to enter the withholding tax details on the screen or upload the Excel template online. All calculations and penalties are automated. Penalties will only apply for late filing and late payments. Upload relevant supporting documents if you wish. Once your form is submitted, you will receive a filing notification, confirmation. You must provide this filing confirmation when making payments pertaining to the period. The information provided by you in the summary will be kept confidential. Please ensure, as I was saying, please ensure that you use the correct TIN for all payees. Under Section 52 of the Tax Admin Act, a person who uses a false TIN in any tax return or document prescribed or used for the purposes of the tax law commits an offense is liable to a fine not exceeding 25,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 24 months, or to both a fine and imprisonment. So once you've already read the instructions, then you will click on the box at the bottom, I declare. I declare. Then you will continue, click on continue to next step. Now you'll be asked the question, are you launching a nil return for this period? So we will first look as an example of a nil return, and then we go to a payable return. So for nil return, we click on yes. If we did not deduct any, we did not pay out any interest in that month. And then the drop down will be there, did not make any interest. We click on that, we select it. Once that is selected, then we click on continue to next step. We'll be taken straight to the summary page. So this is a February, it will be nil here at the tax payable. This late lodgement is showing because this is a February file. At February file till date, there's a penalty of $1 per day. But if it is on time, this will be, all these boxes will be nil. And then we click on continue to next step, will take us to the declaration page. The TIN that needs to be entered here is one of the following: accountant, chief financial officer, company secretary, director, manager, or partner. So one of the TINs, the individual TIN, just reminding everyone, the company TIN cannot be entered here. So one of these individuals still. So as an example, we are putting example, we just put one tin and the designation accountant as an example. So if you want to, this general attachment is optional. If you wish to upload any other documents to explain or to further clarify, then you can do so in the upload document option. The last part will be ticking the I declare again. There will be another I declare after the written, the summary is filled. And then we'll click on submit. But for this purpose, I'm just showing the process for nil return. We will not click submit. We'll click submit when we file the payable return. Now we go back up for a payable return. So again, from the first step, after reading the instructions, then we click on I declare, and we continue to next step. Are you lodging a nil return? We click on no. Then we continue to next step. This is where we will fill the RIWT summary. So as per instructions, we have two options. We can add it line by line, each payee, or we can also download the templates. We can add it line by line. As an example, so we'll put here first Feb 2020, and then the option is there, joint account, yes or no. For example, we click no. TIN of payee. This is the TIN of the person receiving the interest. Now we go to certificate of exemption reference. So this box is only if the payee has produced a certificate of exemption to the payer, to ABC Bank, then we will input that reference number here. If the payee was not, did not produce an exemption certificate to the bank, then this box will be empty, COE reference number. So as an example, the next box is bank account number. We can put 123 ABC. And then the account name, these boxes are mandatory to be filled, but they are open. And it must, since the banks are filling this, so it will match what will be in their records. So this individual's name, Martin Nitin. And then the interest that was paid to them in that period. As an example, we put here 1,000. Now, the RIWT will be automatically calculated. Once a line is entered, then we click on tick. We click on tick, then we proceed to the next step, the summary. It will show the amount payable. Interest 1,000, RIWT payable 100, and then the penalties is 20%. That is if you enter line by line. If you wish to do it in the Excel, then you need to download the template first. No other Excel is acceptable, only the Excel as per the one that's generated from this TPOS. Once that's downloaded, then you can enter the details in that Excel. So the fields are the same as if you enter it line by line. You require the transaction date, Joint account, yes or no? If we put there yes, then you will be required the TIN of payee. The date format, please ensure to put the forward slash, so day forward slash month forward slash and then the year. Then we put in this Excel, we will put the example as a yes and then the TIN of payee. So if it's a joint account, any one of the account holders' TIN will be entered here, only one of them. So we put it an example. So joint account, if there's more than one person, if there's more than one person who's the account holders. So we just need only one of the TIN to be entered there, and then the bank account number, and then the account name. As I explained, it is compulsory and it's also open. So for this one, we need to put both the account holders' name. So Martin and Sue. So all the names, if it's a joint account, all the names have to be entered here. But the TIN will require only one of this. And the interest, an example, 1,000. So then we save this Excel. And then we click on import. Once that is saved, you have to know where you saved it, and then you need to import it. So we'll click on that. So this is what we've been saying. So if the TIN is incorrect, the payee's TIN, you'll be shown this message. So please ensure to enter correct TIN, otherwise it will not go through. So if that happens, then we can just go back to the Excel and go back to the Excel, correct the TIN. I was missing 10. And then we re-import it. Save and then click on import. Okay. Dates. You can also see here, this is a February file. February file, you cannot put any other date, only the dates for February. So we just need to change this. My apologies, just a correction on that part. The transaction date, it will require the month first and then the day and then the year. Apologies for that, and then we'll just re-import that file. It should go through now. Set. So whatever is entered in that file has been imported directly into as the details listed there. And then now we continue to the next step. It will show the interest paid, 10% of that, and the late lodgement. This return is example is showing late lodgement because it is a February file. And then once that is, you verified those calculations, then you can continue to next step for the declaration part. So the declaration part, we put one of the individuals TIN, and then click on I declare box at the bottom. Once the ID clear box has been ticked, then the submit button will open. Then we will submit this summary. Done. So let me just show you the online confirmation, filing confirmation. So it will be, this is how it will look like. And then this is required to be taken to the cashier for payments. Amount payable, penalty, and the net payable. Set. So once you have this, and then you'll be required to come and pay to FRCS as detailed. So that's the demo for the online system. RIWT summary filing. So just again, a brief reminder on the responsibilities of the payee and payer. So the payee will be, if the payee wishes to apply for exemption, then they can simply log in into their online service and then file a request for exemption. And then they'll be required to upload the requested evidences of source of funds and where the funds are kept. The payer, the financial institutions or the companies paying the interest, will be required to withhold the 10% RIWT from the payee and then remit to FRCS and also file the RIWT summary. Thank you all. Thank you all for your attention. I now give the floor back to Billy.
To all participants, thank you, Mr. Notogogo, for tuning in this afternoon. We are going to go to the question and answer session. There are some questions that already came in during the webinar. I will just, in a few seconds, I will just hand it over to Mr. Jenes Chan, who is a member of the panel, to actually go through the question and answers for the benefit of all participants. And from there, then we will conclude the session this afternoon. Mr. Jenes Chan.
Okay, thank you very much for all the participants. Basically, I think the questions, we just received one question. That was, can bank interest be automatically pop up? Well, I believe that question is for the Excel file. We are not putting into the Excel file. We are not putting into the Excel file. We calculate resident interest withholding tax at the rate of 10%. So as soon as you enter into the system automatically calculates resident interest withholding tax, and then it gets deducted from whatever interest that you have earned. And then the payer automatically remits to FRCS. You can download your certificates system. Okay. For the second question happens when a company is charging interest to a resident individual. As I mentioned, when the company is charging, it's not the financial institution. When the company is charging interest to a resident individual, the company is liable to withhold resident interest withholding tax at the rate of 10% again. Only difference is the filing obligation is created for the financial institutions only and not for the companies. But the companies can create obligation themselves, particular month only, and file the RIWT return. Next questions. I don't do any RIWT, but I'm interested in the other payments. I make such as taxes for employees or commissions. This question I will forward it to you later on the answers, because basically this is related RIWT session. So we'll reply to these questions through the webinar, and we'll forward it answers to this, right? Next question. Does the monthly RIWT summary needs to be launched from January 2020? Yes. This RIWT is not currently live, but we are planning to have it live by January 2021. For the previous years, in the previous months, you will be filing on online from 1st of January 2021. But for these ones, you just need to follow the current process, which is currently in place. So does the TPOS is not, so that means TPOS is not linked to financial institution system, example banks. It's not a direct link to the financial institution system due to the financial institution privacy policy. So we are not linking to their system, but yes, so we believe in the information that is sent to us by the financial institution. Next question. Why do we have to load TIN numbers for a person who is uploading on the system? This is we need to know which person is actually using the system. That's why we need that as in our system, so we know which person has used the system to upload it, right? So if there is a need of amendment of any RIWT for a period, yeah, if there is a need for amendment for that particular period, it is available in our system, and we can you can amend it. Actually, if there is a need, you can amend it, and we'll reassess it. Another questions, would there be any provision? It's a continuation of that questions, right? That question. Okay. What, would there be any provision to do so? Yes, you can do the amendments. And what are the implications of do so? Penalties might apply if you have put it incorrectly. And then if you have paid short, the penalties will apply on that short amount, short payments, right? And will the individuals or directors, managers, etc. be liable since there is TIN numbers is updated and declared? Actually, they are not liable for that, but we just want to know who was the person who uploaded it, but they are not personally liable for it. Does this system cater other financial lenders like that's with the carpenters, etc.? Yes, we do cater for them. That's where we explained the other companies apart from the financial institution. That's where this company falls in, like carpenters and RB. Any other questions? Can you maybe please be provided with the eligibility of RIWT criteria, and is there any budget implications? Basically, for RIWT criteria, your annual gross income supposed to be less than 30,000. So your gross income means your employment income, your rental income, plus your interest income. That's how we calculate that's how we take your gross income. So if your gross income for a particular year is less than 30,000, you automatically qualify for RIWT, but you need to apply for the exemption. You won't get an automatically certificate of exemption. you need to apply for the exemption to FRCS using the TPOS system, and we will give you the certificate. Then you can present that certificate to the banks. Your interest withholding tax won't be deducted. Okay, another question. Since the portal is live, by when should the portal be updated? Okay, the portal should. We are planning to have it live by 2021, right? January 2021. So that's basically when we are planning to have it live. Okay, now I give it back to my colleague here, Mr. Gilmone Nailote.
Thanks once again, participants. Thank you, Mr. Janice Chan, for the questions and the answers. Please be reminded that the webinar video and the question and answers will be sent to all the participants this afternoon. We are coming to the end of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your participation this afternoon. We have noted all your questions and input, and the team will endeavor to address these with you. We may be contacting you individually on some of the issues you have brought up. Before we end, we would like to ask all the participants today to please spare a few minutes and go to the SurveyMonkey link shown on the screen and fill in the feedback survey. Your feedback is important and will help us improve. I leave the screen on for a few minutes so that you can note down or screenshot the link before we end the meeting. With these few words, thank you all once again. Stay safe and goodbye. Good luck.